Yeah, play this joint real quick. Oh, what? You trying to tell me to buy my own album? Let me log into my account. Oops. Fine. I'm lunching on this intro music. Log out. All right, I hope we can get some people in here today, tonight, this evening. Now they want me to confirm my email. Gee whiz. It's all bad. Yes, that was me logging in the thing. Yo, mic check, 1, 2, what's up? Just let my stuff get right. You feel like when you at a show and you about to perform and the DJ ain't got your music right. Then you be standing on the stage trying to figure out something to do. After 15 to 20 seconds, I just start freestyling. But I'm not doing that tonight. Here we go.
I've been bout my papyrus since I've been in it. Put me in the debate, you know I'm gon' win it. If I scream black power, don't get timid. If I say black city, I'm talking about Kemet. If I say black city, I'm talking about Kemet. Primary research and we done pushed it to the limits. All you dudes finished. The king counting cattle up with brother Reggie. When I'm in Oakland, smoking, bro, they love the Chevy. Back in the day, it was the spokes on the chariot. Long procession when the king got carried out to every spot. Woman looking nice as ISIS. I read ancient texts, so my advice is priceless. Nubian gold, your ice don't entice us. Beating me harder than counting grains in your spices. Your heart was beating, but your brain dead. You're lifeless. Yo, they ain't nothing like us, yo. Don't try to make me mad. Make me smile and say you love me, man. That's real right there. Come on. You should listen to your main man's advice. Do a YouTube and apologize like Dice. Or the back fade coming like the Antichrist. Egyptologists sent me reading and said that I'm nice. I got a speller with your name on it. I'm like Sargon. You the type of dude wake up in your car gone. Told, cause of the money you owe. Before you stream, you should clean up that humble abode. Like Akhenaten City for my woman in gold. I keep the pseudos running, people coming in droves. You catch me on a live stream with Pan-African James. When we building, call us by our African names. I'm for the children. And ain't nothing happen to change. We on that black height, so we still packing them things for protection. Got connections, My complexion, pure black, that's the essence. Make me smile. You love me? Show me some love.
All right, look. I ain't even really, I just titled it The Racist Podcast or whatever, but look, I ain't really trying to say that anybody, I'm not making a claim that anybody, unless you could judge for yourself whether they racist or not. But this is a Israel-sponsored movement to sow dissension or whatever have we in America. That's my claim. You see, when we was talking about the Russian bots doing what they could do to affect America, we wasn't thinking about other nations that'll also pick up on that play and run the same game on Americans. Now mind you, I don't know if this is his page. I don't really know what's going on, but it's called Purge Viral. So it's not his page, it's somebody else. And this is Nick Fuentes breaking down the racial divide in America. Let's listen to some of the things he said. What's up with Pan-African James, Mark White, RTP, anybody else step in the building to say something? Let's get this views, let's get it popping so we can have more people engaging in this subject matter. Let's listen to this.
We're uncomfortable because we don't like seeing too many black people in prison. I just want to see the people that need to be in prison in prison. I think the police should go where the crime is. If that's in the black neighborhoods, then so be it.
You see how it's so easy to breeze over these talking points that he's so certain that he's just cemented in, like, you know, these are the points. Not addressing none of the nothing behind his reasoning. He just wants to see the people who belong in prison. When prisons were made for a particular people, criminalized people, not criminals. Think about how it went down and how they make sure the prison stay stocked with people. I'm not like being philosophical when we talk about undereducation, when we talk about straight over policed communities. Am I like just saying like catchphrases from a black power movement, or is this a reality? Do the statistics show that certain communities are over policed, so then you making more criminals out of that particular community? I mean, just listen to how he laid this out here.
Seeing too many black people in prison, I just want to see the people that need to be in prison in prison. I think the police should go where the crime is. If that's in the black neighborhoods, then so be it. If black people are getting arrested for committing crimes, then so be it. We are killing ourselves. We're killing our country because we don't want to be called racist as a society.
Nothing. See, it may appear that he's making some good points, but he's conflating a lot of things. He just got through saying if the crime is in the black communities, then the police should go there. So he just limited the crime in America to the black communities, and that's who should be in prison. So then how is it affecting people outside of the black communities? No, I'm just taking his logic. So he switched from, oh, it's crime only in these areas, and this is a problem for everybody. I'm going to tell you right now where I'm sitting, where I am positioned. The crime happening in the ghetto right now is not a problem for me. I'm just keeping it real. It's a problem for my people. It's a problem for American people, yes. As I live my life, what's happening right now, unless I have to visit areas I don't really want to, it's not a problem for me. I'm not saying that it should be able to persist. I'm talking about how someone's so far removed from the crime he's complaining about, probably never even got a chance to experience it. Keep it real. Well, having the ability to, it's not an ability. Being a victim, right, of the crime is not like a special place. No one wants to be a victim of the crime. I'm just talking about how people so far, like I heard dudes like this talking about carjackings. They have a problem with that. Like that is really something they could fall victim to. And so really they kind of like cherry picking. All right, they're going, okay, black on black crime is useful as containing it as black on black crime when you want to make an argument against black communities in that way. But then now you make an argument that this is the crime, the crime that you see, poverty-induced crime, is the crime that's messing up America. Not foreign entities plotting on our whole country not the crime of white supremacy and everything. Yes. See, this word crime, I'm going to tell you in their code words, crime, you know, it just means black people and immigrants mean Mexicans. If you just listen to what they be saying, that's what it is.
And that's it. We don't want to be called a racist country for having a lot of black people in jail, for having a lot of cops in black neighborhoods, for having black people get pulled over in a pretextual traffic stop.
Hold on.
So
did you hear what he just said? He's like, oh, he's trying to rationalize his racism. A pretextual, what the hell is a pretextual police stop? Is he making up stuff?
pretextual traffic stop. So we'd rather live like this. We'd rather live with all of this. 18-year-old high school football players getting stabbed in the neck for approaching the wrong person. 23-year-old refugee from a war stabbed in the neck for no reason.
What about black man hung from trees with all of his limbs broken for no reason? I guess that's not crime, right, Nick? Man, I heard a weird report, and I know it was so weird I never looked it up. It was talking about over the weekend. Yeah, there you go. No, I didn't even see that. I see stories, people saying that a long time ago, so let me not even visit that.
Guy in Denver, Colorado, former Space Force officer, 54 years in prison because he snapped and chased the black kids that tried to steal his car 3 times and never got caught.
So are we sitting here on YouTube? Dude, you know how much shit I could put up pictures of people straight on fire. White crowd standing around, watching people on fire. Right? Well, let me ask you, in your daily life, like I'm not going to act like I walk around afraid of things like that. But I'm a cautious person, right? And depending on the sentiment or however it's going in America, I might walk around with different ways. Just like I might not visit some of the areas that I grew up in because they're poverty stricken. I only go to visit like the people I know and love there, but I might not visit it. And there's particular times when I might not visit that. When it's over cracking and it's just out here in the streets, crime all over the place, I might stay away from that. But I notice in my everyday life, I often have to avoid white crime just as much as I have to avoid black crime. Like if I get up and I'm about to go to like a farmer's market or a festival with my family, I think about a white person shooting it up. And no matter what month it is in America, and you know what I'm saying, in the time season, if a mass shooting just happened recently, it's more on my mind than crime happening in the hood. I'm just telling you how it feels to be living and to be American. Don't let nobody impress upon you stuff that ain't really real. So you ain't never stepped out your house after a mass shooting, spooked to even walk around America? You sure wasn't tripping off the Crips and the Bloods. You was looking for white youth who do mass shooting. White men. So he can sit here all he want on his show, uncontested, right? And cherry pick crimes that help him prove his point. All we got to do is take all the crimes ever committed in humanity and put them on. This is what you have to do if your theology is in place and you'll stand at some grand pearly gates and all this stuff, you're not going to be able to deal with your limited little statistical opinions. You'll take, if you want to mount that argument in front of a Supreme Council of deities, you're going to take all the crimes committed on earth by white people and take all the crimes committed on earth by black people. And you're going to be looking dumb. It's going to be a blowout. It's not even going to be no aliens. I'm only saying supreme beings, aliens. I'm trying to give us a counsel that is outside of the affairs of the human race. Ask the dolphins who commit more crime. Like, this shit is nonsense.
What kind of society do we want to live in? It's a prescient question. Do we want to be too racist and safe, or not racist enough and not have a society?
Stop. Listen to his options for white people his age. Do we want to be too racist and let all this stuff pop? No. And have a safe society? Do we want to be too racist and have a safe society, or not racist enough? These are his options. With a smug face, as if he's making complete sense. And you get fooled listening to guys like this. Like they're completely, they are articulate, they have a good argument. What's the matter with our brains? Like, he should be labeled like an idiot if these are the parameters, if this is as far as his mind stretches. Those are your opposite extremes.
Racist enough and not have a society.
Listen to this again.
And not have a society. Want to be too racist and safe, or not racist enough and not have a society? It's that simple. So people are going to have to get a little bit more comfortable with talking about this in racial terms, because that's...
No. You can't even play it off. From what he's projecting here, people are going to have to get a little bit more racist.
Do we want to be too racist and safe, or not racist enough and not have a society?
What is he talking about? Not racist enough and not have a society. Can you please rationalize that? That is straight white supremacist replacement theory that he's spitting. Let me just say something. It might have been a long time, economically, everything, technology-wise, military, all that stuff. And don't be fooled by what they tell us. It might have been a long ass time. Let's just deal with technology and the life you living on a day-to-day basis. It was a long time where America was in first place. Where the person or the entity known globally, right, as the American white man You know, you say white man, that could include just everybody who's white. But sometimes when you say a white man in the American perspective, you're not really talking about people in Europe, or at the time you're talking about the system put in place in America by the man who set that system up. Man, sometimes I just be like, I don't even feel like, well, this is what I want to talk about now. So I'm not like doing no duties, or, I'm not like, I don't got no, I want to talk about this.
It's that simple. So people are going to have to get a little bit more comfortable with talking about this in racial terms, because
No, that's not what your argument is. You that's why you had to look off to the left. Because that's to the right, because that's not what your argument is. Your argument is not people are going to have to learn to talk about this more in racial terms. Your argument is people need to be more racist so that we can so that you can continue to have a society. Listen, he tried to reframe his position.
Want to be too racist and safe, or not racist enough and not have a society. It's that simple. So people are going to have to get a little bit more comfortable with talking about this in racial terms, because that's why we can't solve it. And you want to know how we know that? Because if it was a white person stabbing a black girl, they would be lynching this guy.
That was completely, he completely just messed up history completely. When has a white person ever been lynched for harming a black person? Like, he completely on some bullshit. I told you they'd be doing the exact opposite. If it was a white guy who stabbed a black person, they would be lynching the white dude. What world, what parallel white universe do he live in? Like, just try to rationalize his standpoint, his point of view.
We're talking about this in racial terms, because that's why we can't solve it. And you want to know how we know that? Because if it was a white person stabbing a black girl, they would be lynching this guy.
Now, the fact that he made all those disgusting looks on his face, even when he made the comment, right? But white people aren't traditionally known for being lynched in America. So what you're using as a hyperbole expression actually happens to black people to this day. And dude sitting over here with his eyebrows hella high in the sky, like he can't find. People stupid. Is that an eyebrow raiser, what he just said? Your brain gotta be empty if that's an eyebrow raiser.
That's how you know. Because if it was a white person, a white football Chad, stabbing an 18-year-old black kid in a hoodie with his Arizona iced tea and Skittles, they would fucking lynch him. If it was a white person...
And he's sitting here nodding, so I guess this dude must be believing he's another one of them. You know what I'm saying? Stop with the nonsense, with this fake ass reverse racism angle that you paid to spew out. If it was a white, what? The justice system only worked for white people. If it was a white person, he'd have a better chance to get justice. Stop with the nonsense.
Pushing a black person in front of a subway train in New York, they would lynch him. That's how you know it's racial. Because if it was white people doing it as characterized and portrayed on television and in movies, we wouldn't have a problem.
Let's just try to see what's happening with his brain. He says if it was white people doing it as portrayed in the television and movies, we wouldn't have a problem. What does that mean? I'm not about to act like I know what he think he talking about. So the way that, which movies are you talking about? Like, come on, dog. Are you talking about hood movies or movies that show white violence? How about man, don't even get me started on movies in Hollywood.
Because if it was white people doing it as characterized and portrayed on television and in movies, we wouldn't have a problem.
So in television and movies portray white people as doing all the crime. I can't make no sense out of this. Do he got the same TV channels I got? Like, I'm sorry that I'm stuck on this statement, but someone to be so far in another world, I'm wondering, do he got Tubi? Do he even got Tubi? I ain't seen no slanderous white people stuff on Tubi, owned by Fox News, right? So I'm really just, maybe I'm far off. Y'all know I'm chilling, it's good. I'm trying to see how a person could be formed with these type of views.
Because if it was white people doing it as characterized and portrayed on television and in movies, we wouldn't have a problem. Because
what movies, what show is showing white people doing all the, what propaganda machine is showing white people doing all the crime in America right now? What movie? Name the movie, y'all. This shit is just crazy.
there would be narratives, there would be policies. It would be called the new KKK, and they would spy on every white person and decimate the criminals. But because they're black.
Why are you lying, little dude? KKK is still not classified as a terrorist group to this day. You see? The KKK is not classified as a terrorist organization. All they did was terrorize people. Besides commit murder, heinous murder. They're not even classified as a terrorist organization, but listen to him.
There would be narratives, there would be policies. It would be called the new KKK, and they would spy on every white person and decimate the criminals.
Why would they spy on white people? The KKK ain't getting spied on right now. You ain't making no points. Like, this will just go run wild on the internet because it's sponsored. Dude, any view that's racist and against black people can move to the forefront of any social media space as if the algorithm has been trained to identify it and promulgate it.
But because they're black, and it's not politically correct, and it's sensitive, we can't chase them, can't charge them, can't lock them away. We can't even talk about it. They won't even cover.
Dude, the shit he's saying should have you fucking shocked. Just listen to this statement.
There would be narratives, there would be policies. It would be called the new KKK, and they would spy on every white person and decimate the criminals. But because they're black, and it's not politically correct, and it's sensitive, we can't chase them, can't charge them, can't lock them away. We can't even talk about it. They won't even cover it.
But you didn't even mention, it never popped in your mind for them to chase, charge, and lock away the white people. Listen to this.
That's how you know it's racial.
He said, so his brain can't even get out of a white supremacy angle and find he cannot even find a proper punishment for the white man. Peep gang. His brain so entrapped in his whiteness, he can't even in his hyperbole find inside of this society a proper punishment for a white man. So he keeps referring to things that have happened to black people, and he's saying, but he attributed to white people. Watch this.
Because if it was white people doing it as characterized and portrayed on television and in movies, we wouldn't have a problem. Because there would be narratives, there would be policies, it would be called the new KKK, and they would spy on every white person and decimate the criminals. But because they're black, and it's not politically correct, and it's sensitive, we can't chase them, can't charge them, can't lock them away. We can't even talk about it. They won't even cover it.
I mean, you can say whatever you want about Nick. Like, you can agree with him. You can United States. They come Detroit.
And too much insanity. Look at what's become of these. It's depressing. Look at what has happened to Chicago. Beautiful city. Ruined by...
I'm just pressing pause because he's not even old enough to know the history of violence in Chicago. But I'm not making an argument for violence, and I understand how things have increased and gotten worse, right? But it's not nothing new for it to be wild in Chicago. Like, it's gotten, you could go back to mafia days where they were shooting in the motherfucking streets with Tommy guns. Was it better then? I'm just trying to say, for real though, I'm just trying to peep gang. Because I first visited Chicago in the 90s. And it was just as unsafe. It wasn't YN unsafe because time go on and things change, and now you old and they young and they doing it different. But I'm only not speaking against the outrageous crime that's in our inner cities. I mean, I'm not speaking for the outrageous crime that's in our inner cities. We hate that. I'm acting like this. You can't be taking this position. Remember Chicago? You don't even remember Chicago. You look like you're probably 26 or something. Like, what are you talking about? If I can't remember when it was this safe-ass place, and what I know about it before that is all mob history. This is ridiculous.
And it's gone on for too long. Too many bodies. And too much insanity. Look at what's become of these. It's depressing. Look at what has happened to Chicago.
The looks on his face, all this shit, that don't look sincere to me. Like, why are you overexpressing? Why are you being overexpressive?
And too much insanity. Look at what's become of these. It's depressing.
He's acting.
Look at what has happened to Chicago. Beautiful city.
So you're a beautiful city. Like, you sound like they start to sound the same.
Ruined by this. Same with New York, same with LA. LA is one of the most beautiful places in the world. Look at what they've done to it.
Again, look at what they've done to it. You don't even know LA like that. What are you talking about? If you're talking about, because I'm following your points, black people did all this stuff, and then you name all these cities, and then I know what's going on in that culture, but what are you talking about? Like, it was probably worse trying to go to LA in the 80s and the 90s. I'm just, so all of this nonsense, again, I'm against the crime, just like most of us are. But his narrative, right? And then when they get to reading statistics and numbers, the crime be going down in all these places they talking about. So this is just the word crime being used as a catchphrase for black people.
Because we're afraid of being called racist. Well, I'm part of the new generation, and I can assure you, I don't give a fuck about being called racist. I want my fucking country back. If that makes me racist.
What's your country? What exactly is your country that you want back that is being taken from you? You sat here, talked about black people your whole show. You didn't mention immigration. You didn't mention none of that, not once. But now you're going into the end of your monologue, whatever, you want your nation back. So you want it back from black people. You want it back from crime. You obtained it through crime. You don't give a fuck about being called racist. And you want your smug, look at him. When was the last time you think he got popped in that shiner right there? I mean, bow. Cut it out.
So be it. No love lost. And increasingly, that's how people feel about this. That's how I feel about it too.
Now he gonna hit you with increasingly. That's how people. He's rallying the troops, like the impressionable white dude down here, who every time he says something dumb, his eyebrows go to the forehead. This is radicalizing people with social media. While we sit here and watch Dame Dash and Cameron fight.
So that's the issue. What's amazing is, of course, Trump is surging the National Guard in these cities to take care of the problem, and you're having protests against it. They want the chaos. They want the disorder.
Now, it's even dumbass black people who be like, I said to one of my partners, I knew he was an idiot anyway, but I just was confirming it. And I was like, what you feel about that National Guard? Because we was talking about the crime ourselves. He was like, I mean, if that's what it takes, you know what I'm saying? For real? What about the military coming in to stop this crime? I mean, you know what I'm saying, if that's what it takes. So you don't think about rights, the Constitution. You don't think about the way this nation is supposed to run. You just think that they breaking in the car windows, they bipping, they're running. You in your city, you park your car, your windows get broke out in 10 minutes. So now we need the military. How dumb can we be? You park your car and they gonna bip your car. I'm talking about straight in Oakland. You can't even park nowhere. You park for 10 minutes, come outside, bip, somebody broke in your car, broke your windows to steal your stuff out the car. So now we need the military. You can't even make that up. It sounds crazy. Right?
It has to be broken. These people have to be broken. It cannot go on like this.
Do you hear this shit? Listen to this.
care of the problem, and you're having protests against it. They want the chaos. They want the disorder. It has to be broken. These people have to be broken. It cannot go on like this. There needs to be leadership.
These people, it slipped out, but he said it. These people have to be broken.
They want the chaos. They want the disorder. It has to be broken. These people have to be broken. It cannot go on like this. There needs to be leadership. It needs to come from the top. The people may not like it at first, but they need to accept it. Because otherwise, we don't have a country.
What are you talking about? He just didn't say shit. He said these people need to be broken. There needs to be leadership, and it needs to come from the top. What are you're not telling, like, what are people taking this like he's making some valid ass points?
Issue. What's amazing is, of course, Trump is surging the National Guard in these cities to take care of the problem, and you're having protests against it. They want the chaos. They want the disorder. It has to be.
Who is the they that's protesting against it? So now he's switching to other white people. They want the chaos. They want the disorder.
Be broken. These people have to be broken. It cannot go on like this. There needs to be leadership. It needs to come from the top. The people may not like it at first, but they need to accept it. Because otherwise, we don't have a country. It's that simple.
So as we speak today, I guess we don't have a country. Well, the threat to our country, even though he wants you to look at black people, the threat to our country is white men on a racist white supremacy shit. That is the truth of the matter. The true threat to America is what Trump is doing in office right now. Like, again, I don't need to be the person saying this stuff. We don't know that. Think about national security. See, that's one thing about domestic crime. In order for domestic crime to like reach the levels of where it's a matter of national, is it gonna be so many carjackings to whether it's a matter of national security to where we might lose our nation? You see what I'm saying? And so this whole acting like we don't even know what the true threats are, even the whole farce, the whole term national security, I remember when that shit came out. I remember when they start saying it all the time. I'm like, why are they all of a sudden saying this? I wasn't hearing about that 10 years ago. Like, what's going on? Like, what's up with this? It's just another one of those terms they can use to exploit. It's like the term anti-Semitism. Everything will become a matter of national security. But in reality, what is your nation really threatened by? It's not the best, dude. No one wants to live in crime-ridden communities. But that's part of this nation collapsing under the weight of capitalism. So let's talk about some of this impoverished, let's just talk about it. Being homeless is not a crime. It's being criminalized, but it's not a crime. But that's a big, huge ass problem affecting even the quality of life in a lot of big cities in America. Homelessness. It probably will be a crime to be homeless in the moment. But I'm trying to talk about some of the things that we can look around and notice that we like in a third world country, or America is already going to the shit, falling under the pressures of capitalism after the big tech boom came through and blossomed up San Francisco. It left and just left trash on the floor. People, homeless people, no jobs. They raised all the prices. The living wage ain't moving with the home wage. It's all a big, and then all of your politicians ain't doing nothing because they're getting kickbacks from Israel. Israel wants to make sure the whole world know that they are the chosen people of God. Yes, the nation Israel. How does this serve any of our interests? But I'm sticking with staying on this dude right here.
So I see everybody skirting around the issue. You know, even these guys like Matt Walsh. Matt Walsh does a show every single day about how black people are the problem. He just never says black people. You notice that?
So his interpretation of the show I never seen was that he does a show every day about black people being the problem. He just never says black people. Black people are the problem for what? If you, and by your own admission, say that these are problems in black communities, communities that I guarantee you don't frequent, then that's like a scapegoat. But if anyone truly believes that black people are the problem for America, you have been radicalized and brainwashed in preparation for what Israel wants to usher in America, what they want to help the white boy in America do. How they doing? Nobody answered my question. I asked, why would any American police, I hope they got some agency that's on top of American police. Why would they need their police officers to be trained by the IDF, Israeli Defense Force? What type of training does the IDF have? They got genocide training, right? They dealing with what's happening in Palestine right now. What could they possibly teach American police? Well, plenty of our big cities, I've been even looking at people, because you know, you could go back and forth. If you just want to take a house from a Palestinian, you can go right now and become a settler. We can look it all up. Just say, and well, if you black, you can't do it. But if you white, you can say, oh, I want to become a settler and go to Israel right now and help the settlers. Go in there with them, force people out of their homes, and take you a brand new home. Right now, today in 2020, well, they know more. They bombed them all, but it's still happening in particular areas as we speak today. So this type of rhetoric and having America in a state where it damn near feel like it want to go to civil war is useful for Israel. Anybody who, that's like a pimp keeping his hoes in a sort of beefy disarray. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's what it mentally messed up in the head and just keeping her out there. That's what that's like.
I see everybody skirting around the issue. You know, even these guys like Matt Walsh. Matt Walsh does a show every single day about how
Now
black
remember,
people.
the issue he's talking about is black people are the problem with America. And this stuff is getting promoted, YouTube, everything. Like everybody know this guy. Not me. I mean, I just heard some of the nonsense like last month and was like, is this what the kids is listening to?
I see everybody skirting around the issue. You know, even these guys like Matt
Let me remind you of what that issue is.
go on like this. There needs to be leadership. It needs to come from the top. The people may not like it at first, but they need to accept it. Because otherwise, we don't have a country. It's that simple.
Now, someone just said Nick Fuentes, he's not even a white man, he's Mexican. He's one of those clones, bro. You know, one of the best ways to not get deported and shows on as a Mexican is to act like you white. I done seen that. I lived in Latino communities, and on one side of the street, it'll be the straight, real Mexicans that I kicked it with, and the other side of the street, it'll be the Latinos who trying to act like they white. You can't tell me nothing. I would have a closer relationship to the immigrant migrants who was juking in order to be in America. But they own houses on my street. This is your country. They own houses on the street where I didn't own a house, and they immigrants. And they people across the street from them who want to act like they white hate on the immigrants. So now if you know the history of Spaniards, man, they all coming from the same Europe, bruh. Let's not even mess that up. He's not, Mexicans don't look like him. He's a white boy. Because they got that Spaniard blood that came in the Mexican-Spanish War. Come on now. Spaniards took over Mexico. These was white people from Spain. But we confuse them with the indigenous Mexicans who they was fighting, took over, and then started colorism in Mesoamerica. To where now that the Spaniard is here, the white Mesoamerican is more promulgated, and the darker indigenous, Taino, whatever you want to say, people, I don't want to say Taino, excuse me. Now I want to think of the word I'm trying to say. Y'all know, it started with the A. I apologize. Aztec and all of the peoples who was there before that, right? You could go through back, Olmec, whatever you want to, how far back you want to go. There wasn't no Spaniards. So he's a Spaniard. And if you really want to know more about why some of the hate they got for black people, it go back to the Moorish occupation of the Iberian Peninsula. See, they didn't tell white people the truth. When they did it on purpose when they was teaching y'all shit, and just like they wasn't telling us the truth either, but they didn't tell y'all the truth, which is more nefarious because y'all on their team. So why you not telling your sons and daughters the truth? Man, y'all see I've been drinking hell of this water. I'm about to take a break. I don't want to let this video play, but I guess I got to. But he gonna say so much racist shit that you can't even address. It might make y'all puke. But hey, I'm gonna just let it play for a second. Be right back.
So I see everybody skirting around the issue. You know, even these guys like Matt Walsh. Matt Walsh does a show every single day about how black people are the problem. He just never says black people. You notice that? He'll never say white and black. He'll insinuate it. He'll make oblique references to it. He'll say, we all know why you can't talk about this. Tell us, Matt. Tell us why. They never propose a solution. What's the solution, Matt? Tell us, please. What's going on? Tell us it's racial. Say the words. Tell us it's genetic. I want to hear the words. No more playing games. No more of this Midwest bullshit where these white cowards get together and they shrug their shoulders. They make that white person face. They go, no, let's just talk about it. I'm a new generation of white person. I'm not living around blacks. Sorry. You know, I want white kids, and I don't want my white kids bringing home black people to marry. It's racial for me. And call me racist. Oh, very Christian of you. I don't give a fuck. That's the attitude we need to bring to this. And by the way, we're just the latest ones to that party. You know, here's the part that amazes me about it, is when you consider all this insanity, realize that most black people don't even like white people. Most white people, or rather, most black people, the level of resentment, the way that they have an axe to grind against us.
Hold on. I heard that and had to say, see, he is on here saying most black people don't like white people. Most black people shouldn't. From the history of the relationship between black people and white people, most black people shouldn't, but that just does not seem to be the case. We not that vindictive. We not that. We just that we human. Feel me? Hold on, I'm gonna play some stuff. We're gonna have a good show. Hold on, I'll be right back.
We as whites are tripping over ourselves not to offend, to be so sensitive, to.
So he just said we as whites. Someone said he's Mexican. So like I told you, he included himself in white. White is something you can be included into.
Hater. They don't get, did they, most white people, or rather, most black people, the level of resentment, the way that they have an axe to grind against us, we as whites are tripping over ourselves not to offend, to be so sensitive, to cater. They don't get, did they ever care about offending us? When is a black person, when have you ever seen in media, in Hollywood, in the mainstream culture, when have you ever seen a black person get canceled for offending white people? When have you ever seen a black person go out of their way not to offend a white person, to their own detriment maybe? If that has ever happened in history, surely it has never been recorded.
And okay, maybe this sounds a little bit rude, and I have to give this side note. It's not about all black people. You also have good black people, of course, but he is not talking about those cases. We all know what kind of black people he's talking about. But people, they always will say, oh, this is race. It's not even racist anymore. This is like realist. Like, to be honest, like seriously, like we have to stop like
man, shut up.
not talking about the things.
Everything he's saying is completely racist and bigoted. He bringing talking points. Let me teach y'all something, dog. A lot of his talking points ain't even from modern times. What if I could show you right now? What if I could show you documentation from right after slavery? Where they saying the same thing that he's saying right now. So this is just white supremacist talking points so they could get further closer to their agenda. They could get closer to their agenda. Charlie Kirk, the guy they act like you're supposed to treat like a hero, was trying to convince young white people that black people did better in slavery by using his skewed statistics. Think about all of that. What is this for? What is this about? What does this lead to? Shit is ridiculous.
We actually feel like, because they're
Shut up, I'm not
really,
listening to
or
you.
maybe will they? I'm not a
radical.
Revel. If anything, they're antagonistic. They relish, they revel in offending us. They look for opportunities to offend us. A completely defensive posture. And again, it's not all black people, it goes without saying, but it is a lot of them. And so it's like, let's just be honest about what we're dealing with here. We are on our own. When Austin Metcalf got stabbed, black people raised $500,000 for his killer.
Do you hear this? Like, this is the craziest shit. When Austin Metcalf got stabbed, man, let's look at this. I want to go into that. I'm typing that name right now. Now we over here, right? I know I'm about to get all of these. Everything is coming from the machine, but I want to listen to this. I don't want to go to get my first thing be propaganda channels. Even though everything is their propaganda, I gotta get it from somewhere.
Texas grand jury indicted 17-year-old Carmelo Anthony just last week for a deadly altercation that happened at a Texas track meet in April. And now News Nation has viewed a critical piece of video evidence. 17-year-old Austin Metcalf was killed. Anthony admits he stabbed Metcalf while both took cover under a team tent during a rain delay. But Anthony says he was acting in self-defense. News Nation's Rich McHugh has been tracking this case. And Rich, you are one of the reporters who got to view this important piece of evidence.
Yeah, Nicole, they allowed me to view this video under strict conditions. I couldn't record anything. I couldn't take pictures. I could take notes, but that's about it. They would play it one time, then they wouldn't even rewind it.
Let me go to the next one. Sorry. I just want to hear somebody talking about it.
Carmelo Anthony is charged with killing Austin Metcalf by stabbing him in the chest during a dispute over seating in the bleachers at a high school track meet.
You wake up to the shocking news that Carmelo Anthony's parents have been arrested by federal agents after they found what prosecutors call a carefully planned murder plot. The number at the center of the accusations is shocking. A hired killer is said to have received $230,000. 0 cents. The police say this wasn't a random act. The planned operation, which included many money transfers, encrypted messages, and late-night meetings.
Right now, because they saying too much wild stuff for me to just breeze over this like that. You feel me? So I'm sorry. I gotta withdraw from this one.
We're uncomfortable because we don't like seeing too many black people in prison. I just want to see the people that need to be in prison.
Let's get back to what we
little bit rude, and I have to feel like people feel like,
if anything, they're antagonistic. They relish, they revel in offending us. They look for opportunities to offend us. A completely defensive posture. And again, it's not all black people, it goes without saying, but it is a lot of them. And so it's like, let's just be honest about what we're dealing with here. We are on our own. When Austin Metcalf got stabbed, black people raised $500,000 for his killer. That's what we're dealing with here.
So now, you can see what made me go look at that. Because if he had something for his defense, if he was raising money for his defense, and that's different. But what about the white lady who just did a tirade, right, against a young child underage child, calling him the N-word? She didn't need no defense, and she got $750,000, probably $1 million now. White people sent the lady who was calling the little black boy a N-word on the video $750,000 to her GoFundMe, y'all.
When this attack happened on the subway, all black people can say in the replies is, well, what about school shooters? Well, what about this? Well, what about that? We are on our own. Like, we have to stop looking for this kind of cooperation. As a white person, the word is fatigue. We are exhausted. We're just fucking done. We're done. We don't want anything to do with you anymore. It's a shame. It's a shame because
we never wanted anything to do with you or people like you, Nick, ever. There was no black person sitting in Africa wanting something to do with you. So I'm trying to say he's not, it sounds like the 2025 version of things that have been said directly after slavery. I'm going to pull up the documents to prove it. And you're going to be like, wow, everything he just said was said before about 100 years ago or whatever. Not 100 years ago, but you know what I mean. 150 years ago. But this stuff is nonsense. Oh, he got views. He got views. People watch him consistently. He's radicalizing people.
As a white person, the word is fatigue. We are exhausted. We're just fucking done. We're done. We don't want anything to do with you anymore. It's a shame. It's a shame because I think a lot of people, a lot of white people like the idea of diversity and like the idea of being inclusive and tolerant. And on some level, I like that too. I mean, I think there is something that appeals to us as human beings.
Shut the fuck up. We don't want to hear your stupid ass stance while you talking all this bullshit
About the idea of a universal brotherhood. I think there is something intrinsic in people, maybe only in white people, maybe in other people, that there.
Are you serious? It's maybe, listen to the argument he's trying to make. It might be only in white people the sense and feeling of a universal brotherhood. You cannot make this up. He's sitting here in the same sentence saying he's done with black people, arguing for his sense of congregation amongst men. I do feel that that's cool. Man, this dude all over the place.
I like that too. I mean, I think there is something that appeals to us as human beings about the idea of a universal brotherhood. I think there is something intrinsic in people, maybe only in white people, maybe in other people, that there's something shared between all of us as human beings. It's a nice idea, right? At the minimum, might be. But a lot of white people are looking at this and saying, you know, the public outbursts, the scenes they create, the crime, the violence, the disrespect, and then you talk about it, and then they browbeat you. They want to lynch you for being racist. Someone says the N-word, it's an international...
Why does he keep... Dude, his brain is so perverse. Every time he uses the word lynch, it's for a white person. They want to lynch you. Keep on saying lynch, 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 and acting as if white people have a history of being lynched in America.
They create, the crime, the violence, the disrespect, and then you talk about it, and then they browbeat you. They want to lynch you for being racist. Someone says the N-word, it's an international incident. And so people are saying, you know what? Okay, bye. Like, I want to go and live with only white people then. Because when we encounter them in
Bye. Go. You're free to do that. There's places all over this earth where you could go do that. Go. Ain't nobody who tripped off that. Nobody ever. Ain't nobody like black people stopping you from going to live with all white people. Seriously.
okay, bye. Like, I want to go and live with only white people then. Because when we encounter them in traffic, it's chaos. We encounter them in Walmart, it's chaos.
When we encounter them in traffic, it's chaos. Now, we can have some fun right now. When we encounter them in Walmart, it's chaos. Now it's time for some comedy. The people, I think it's gonna pop up. Walmart. Look how it popped up. So we're gonna just go to the comedy. We all know Walmart is known for showing us who lives in our society. He just said, I told you we're gonna do some comedy. He just said, when we encounter them in Walmart, you can't make this up. Look at this. This is just, we're gonna do 2 seconds of comedy. This is who we encounter in Walmart. I didn't go to a black video or a white video. I just typed in the people of Walmart. Let's see what they got for it. I don't see hella black people wilding in this video. When we encounter them in Walmart, when we hold on, there you told you this video gonna show you a little bit of everybody, but I don't just see black people. Look at this. Look at that gene popping out. Man, I'm gonna have to turn the music low. This video ain't talking about black people or white people. This video is simply talking about the people of Walmart. Because he just said when he go to Walmart, all he see is black people. He get tired of being around them, whatever. This is what they see. I don't know what's up with these pants right here, but this is utterly, utterly disgusting. You thought he was black because of them legs, son. They just over tanned, y'all. Hey man, this is the people of Walmart. He was acting like black people was the problem. I don't see none of them on the video. Oh man, we can't have all this on my channel now. They going way too far. Let's go back and hear him complain about the black people.
We're uncomfortable because we don't
encounter
like
at Walmart.
seeing dealing with here. When this attack happened on the subway, all black people can say in the replies is, well, what about school shootings? About the idea of a universal brotherhood. I think there is something intrinsic in people, maybe only in white people, maybe in other people, that there's something shared between all of us as human beings. It's a nice idea, right? At the minimum, might be.
Ridiculous.
But a lot of white people are looking at this and saying, you know, the public outbursts, the scenes they create, the crime, the violence, the disrespect, and then you talk about it, and then they browbeat you. They want to lynch you for being racist. Someone says the N-word, it's an international incident. And so people are saying, you know what? Okay, bye. Like, I want to go and live with only white people then. Because when we encounter them in traffic, it's chaos. We encounter them in Walmart, it's chaos. When they're shoplifting and on public transit, it's chaos. When you call them on it, they are yelling in your face. You're being called names. They want to hurt you. You wouldn't say that to my face. Why? Because you're a tough guy? Why? Because you're on welfare and you have nothing left to lose? You're not worried about an assault charge because you're a fucking loser with no life, or because you know that there's going to be no social repercussions or legal repercussions for you. You know what? You're right. I don't want to see your face. I don't want to say anything to your face. I want to get as far the fuck away from you as possible because I don't want to live around violent maniacs. I don't want to live around cry bully, fucking baby narcissist maniacs. I don't want to live there. I don't want to raise a family there. I don't want to hear the excuses. I don't want to.
So this is what the newest wild racism sound like. In case you didn't know, this is what they listening to. Look at dude on there smiling, smirking like, yeah, man, I feel the same way. I'm glad you got the heart to say it, Nick.
Hear how I'm a racist. I don't want to hear how you need my fucking money, how I need to pay reparations. You know what? Good luck and good riddance. That's the attitude.
And believe me, like, this is just Nick's opinion. Like, but many people actually think like this. This.
They're all got crackatosis. It's the same shit.
Oh, why? And I'm getting so sick of reality. Like,
Tried integrating. It did.
I'm 100% sure.
As a result, who wants any part of it? Not even them. Not even them. What's the first thing they do when they make a lot of money? They get the fuck out of the ghetto. Not even.
Do you hear how dumb he sounds? What was the first thing the Jews did when they got a lot of money? Were they living in the places allotted for them known as ghettos after they bounced back? No. That word ghetto got switched over to black people. He's making the argument that if you move out of poverty, you don't want to be around black people. His argument is that if you reach an economic level where you can move out of a poverty-stricken community, that you don't want to be around black people.
Who wants any part of it? Not even them. Not even them. What's the first thing they do when they make a lot of money? They get the fuck out of the ghetto. Not even them. Why do they want all this stuff with education? They want to send them to white schools. Because we know what happens at black schools. They want to live near us.
What happens at black schools? Can y'all please tell me? I don't know what happens at black schools. I've been to a black school, poor education. Because America got it set up that way. You think they want to go to white schools because it's white people there? Golly. Like, you making some piss poor arguments. If you got all the best resources and you funnel them to schools where only white people can go, people are going to want their children to go to that school. But do you hear this shit?
Not even them. Why do they want all this stuff with education? They want to send them to white schools. Because we know what happens at black schools. They want to live near.
What happens at black schools? I still want to know, because he said it like I'm supposed to know. What happens at black schools? At white schools, we got mass shootings. I know that for a fact, right? Like, what do you got at black schools? What does America say happens at black schools? It's just poor education. And the kids are not the educators. So I don't even get, we know what happens at black schools.
Us because they want our tax money. They want reparations because they want our money.
So let's listen back.
All this stuff with education, they want to send them to white schools because we know what happens at black schools. They want to live near us because they want our tax money. They want
to live near us because they want our tax money. I guarantee you, they don't want to live near you, Nick. They don't. The whitest Mexican I ever seen. They don't want to live near you. They just want to move out of a poverty-stricken community. And if they had an option for a black community that had as many resources as some of these white communities in the area, I'm pretty sure they'd choose it. There's some who won't, but we generalize, and we talking about the masses.
reparations because they want our money.
African people ask for reparations because they want white people's money. All of these statements, like if this was a real nation, they wouldn't allow people to just be freedom of speech, my ass. No, this some bullshit. So what people do in a free nation, when people get to spewing stuff like this, is hold them to it and make them suffer consequences. It's always going to be a white dude just like you that's the opposite of what you're talking about. So if you're willing to go this hard, Mr. Nick, there is a white boy willing to stop you. It's not even a black thing. It's never been in this nation. Because you make people, I got so many, I bet you a lot of the black people in my chat don't got as many white homies as I do. And they like, you make them look really bad. So bad that they'll be willing to do whatever to stop you. So all we be looking at is a theater. The theater. Because we have not mounted no attack against white supremacy. As much as we should have been organized and mounting attacks against this. You can't name the black organization that is prominent at fighting against white supremacy. What you gonna say, the NAACP? They got like Chinese people and Jews on their board. Like, you can never get nothing for black people.
It's a toxic relationship. We want out. What's even the positive at that point? Like, honest to God, what's the benefit? All I see are risks, chaos. All I see is antipathy and deep distrust. They glare at you. They menace you, looking to be offended, always uncharitable. People are saying, yeah, we're good.
So go right ahead and be fucking good, motherfucker. Nobody will miss you at all. Go do the whitest shit you want to do amongst all white people. You will not be missed in the universe. Take this rhetoric to wherever you want to take it and bottle it up and do what you got to do. So don't act like whether or not you've been exposed to this before, this person has a lot of followers. And just like they show you, oh, if you're black, we'll push your page to the forefront if you contribute nonsense content. We'll make it easier in this algorithm for your page to get to the forefront. If you're young and white and you spew racist content, we're going to help you get to the front. So it's harder for you to see in the instance of YouTube because the person and the people behind YouTube have not revealed themselves and their standpoint. But let's just go over to X or Twitter. And you could clearly see they made it easier to be racist on that platform. Elon Musk did that. They used to get people up out of there for those type of comments. And he was like, no. Not only that, Elon Musk, like on some evil billionaire shit, is trying to incite civil war all over the world, not just in America. Like, I'm not, man, listen to this. No, was it Elon at Charlie Kirk Memorial? That ain't it. No, that's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking at Elon on video. Damn. I'm gonna say UK rally. You probably seen this already. Look at this. So I had to go back to the beginning because I was like, it looked like, I can't see dude's hand, it don't matter. It looked like he was doing a Nazi salute at the beginning of this video, this person over here. But since I can't, I'm not even going there, but just look at how that looked. So regardless of the imagery, look at this clown, right? Not only is he trying to do something really, really evil right now, but he looked like he's showing, you could see it, that he's trying to be like some evil billionaire. He think that's hip and cool. Watch this.
Hello. Hello, everyone. Congratulations. Congratulations, Tommy, on putting together an amazing event and really rallying the people of Britain.
Elon, none of this could have happened without you giving the British public access to the truth and giving us free speech and fighting for our free speech. So
none of this could have happened without Elon Musk giving the British public access to the truth. How's he doing that? Through X, Twitter. Listen to this nonsense.
On behalf of Great Britain and the British public, we're incredibly grateful, Elon.
You're most welcome. You're most welcome, and You may notice this T-shirt that I'm wearing is great British author George Orwell. What would Orwell think? I think that's generally a good way to look at these things. He would want freedom of speech. He would want the people to know what's real. He'd want the people to fight against government oppression and fight for the truth and fight for the future of Britain.
Sounds great. Let's listen.
Elon, we are incredibly grateful for your time. We know what a busy man you are. Why is it important for you to be here today speaking at this Unite the Kingdom event?
Well, I'm of primarily British.
Why is it billionaires from South Africa talking to people in Britain at one of their rallies? Ain't that like some illegal crazy stuff? Like, just pick some other people. Like, just pick Congress, a person, a billionaire from Mexico, right? Talking to people at a rally in Oakland. Like, what's going on in this world?
Heritage, British ancestry. I want Britain to be greater than it ever has been. I want Britain to remain Britain. I think there's something beautiful about being British. And
so everything he just said was just all about white. Because what he's talking about, he wants Britain to remain British. What does that mean? He wanted to remain white. He's discussing immigration, the same problem they're having over there. How all of a sudden these is the biggest problems in the world?
What I see happening is a destruction of Britain. Initially a slow erosion, but a rapidly increasing erosion of Britain with massive uncontrolled migration, a failure by the government to protect innocent people, including children who are getting gang raped. It's unreal. The government has failed in its duty to protect its citizens, which is a fundamental duty of government. This has got to stop. There needs to be massive government reform in Britain. And the people need to be in charge, not some bureaucracy that doesn't care.
Elon, I believe that's what we've started today. Power by the people, sending a message worldwide. Elon, you spend an incredible lot of money on X. Why is free speech so important to you?
I'm sorry, but...
Well, I believe...
This is 18 minutes of it. So I'm going to try to get to the part where you say the craziest shit.
You can't get to the truth of things without freedom of speech. The weak, those who cannot protect themselves. That is who we're dealing with.
Elon, to exercise their free speech.
Is really, my message is to the reasonable center. You're in a fundamental situation here where whether you choose violence or not.
I hear it now, right here. Listen to this. Listen to what he says. This is what he's saying, Mr. Billionaire, on the teleprompter at a public rally in Britain.
You're in a fundamental situation here where whether you choose violence or not, violence is coming to you. You either fight back or you die. You either fight back or you die.
Now, we have to go back to contextualize what he's saying there a little bit more.
Where whether you choose violence or not, violence is coming to you, which is to look carefully around you and say, if this continues, what world will you be living in? This is a message to the reasonable center, the people who ordinarily wouldn't get involved in politics, who just want to live their lives. They don't want they're quiet. They just go about their business. My message is to them: if this continues, that violence is going to come to you. You will have no choice. you're in a fundamental situation here where
We gotta go back further because he's being evasive on purpose. The message could be about government tyranny, or it could be the violence of immigration and stuff. But let's go pinpoint it.
To them.
And the message is really, my message is to the reasonable center. The common sense. So my appeal is to British common sense, which is to look carefully around you and say, if this continues, what world will you be living in?
So let's stop. He is talking about the immigration issue. He's talking about look around you. If this continues, what world would you be living in? He's not talking about left and right Democrats. Obviously, I don't even know what they do on the left and right in Britain. But he's talking about if you keep letting people in Britain. Again, I'm going to go back further so we can
Public
contextualize.
who are scared to exercise their free speech. They're worried about being imprisoned, they're worried about being attacked, even to share their speech on your platform of X. What message would you give to them?
And the message is really, my message is to the reasonable center. The common sense. So my appeal is to British common sense, which is to look carefully around you and say, if this continues, what world will you be living in?
So even though the guy asked him about whatever, I'm going to give credit to say he must be talking about the erosion of civil liberties at this point.
This is a message to the reasonable center, the people who ordinarily wouldn't get involved in politics, who just want to live their lives. They don't want, they're quiet, they just go about their business. My message is to them, if this continues, that violence is going to come to you. You will have no choice. You're in a fundamental situation here where whether you choose violence or not, violence is coming to you. You either fight back or you die. You either fight back or you die. And that's the truth.
Today, Elon, I think the British public are telling the world that they're ready to fight back.
Good. Yes.
Come on, Great Britain. Come on. We've inspired the nation.
And that's the truth.
What did you say? Come
Today, Elon, I think the British public are telling the world that they're ready to fight back.
Good. Yes.
Come on, Great Britain.
Did he just say, come on, white man? I know that's what he said. Come on, white man. I'm trying to tell you, so he was not talking about fascism like he speak. They say speak with a double tongue. He was talking about fighting back against their immigration. Why did he say, come on, white man? Let's listen.
Yes.
Come on, Great Britain.
What did he say if he didn't say, come on, white man? Is he in a place called White Band or something?
The truth.
Today, Elon, I think the British public are telling the world that they're ready to fight back.
Good. Yes.
Come on, Great Britain. Come on.
Y'all tell me what he just said right there. Did he say, come on, what did he say? Come on, Great Britain? White Britain?
Or you die. And that's the situation where you die. You either
Come on, Great Britain? God, I can't hear shit.
fight back or you die. And that's the truth.
Today, Elon, I think the British public are telling the world that they're ready to fight back.
Good. Yes.
Come on, Great Britain.
Oh, yeah, you're right. You're 100% right. I can't hear. I really can't hear. See, you heard right wing. We heard all kind of different stuff. No, I'm just gonna come on. I can't hear, bruh. When I get off the airplane, I don't even know. It take like a day and a half for my ears to pop. I'll be like, golly, why I can't hear? So when you told me he said, come on, Great Britain, that's exactly what he said. He did not say, come on, white man. So now just for that, I'm going to type this. And we'll get off Nick Fuentes. White man fight back. So are they saying white man right here? Hold on. I'll be like, fight back against what?
Did you see the parade of angry white men chanting, "White man, fight back! White man, fight back"? It's extremely alarming to hear, but I'm more so
so they're not saying Great Britain in this one.
confused. My brother in Christ, for people that look like us to the outside world, it appears that we run and own everything. So most people are curious, who are you fighting back against? And not only that, if you're talking about Charlie Kirk, if you're talking about... Did you see the parade of angry white men?
Iran is being told by what's happening, you better get nuclear weapons or else this kind of game will be played on you whenever the West wants to. You're not getting rid of nuclear. You're making it even more certain that Iran and many other countries watching all of this. People don't get the news here in this country. But let me conclude with an illustration. Over the last few days, the government in Pakistan issued a statement. If any nuclear weapons are used against Iran, they, the Pakistanis, will use them against Israel.
Let's stop. I hope that really happens. Because what they don't know is Pakistan then snuck themselves some nukes up out of there, boy. I don't know how they done did that thing. But Pakistan got nukes. So if what he's saying is true, that's a crazy move right there.
Where's Elon's Tesla Roadster right now? Where's Elon's Tesla Roadster right now? Okay, let's check. Back in 2018, SpaceX launched it on the very first Falcon Heavy rocket as a test payload. They needed something to...
We stand on the subject.
If you were on the left, you are not my enemy.
It is with pride that we announced our next guest. Thank you, Cenk, for coming on.
No problem, Tucker. Thanks for having me on. I think it's important that we have a moment like this where we try to bring the country together.
Amen. I so strongly agree.
Wake up. Because I am telling you, this is not a battle between left and right.
Marjorie Taylor Greene. Thank you.
We have to now meet in the middle.
Do you think that America should just cut ties with Israel altogether?
What's your definition of cut ties?
Like stop funding them, stop being their military arm?
Yes,
okay,
I'm on record saying.
Okay.
There's no way anyone elected Trump for this. 3 years ago, the right wing solidly supported Israel. Right now, they don't. 3 years ago, it was unthinkable for a majority of the right to have turned against America's funding of Israel. Now you are seeing people under 40 on the left and the right agreeing that America should not be funding whatever the hell Israel's doing. You know, building Las Vegas on the Gaza Strip. Nobody's in for that. Nobody's in for that. When the Israeli finance minister comes out and goes, hey, we spent a lot of money on the war. We got to get paid back a little bit. We're doing a real estate project. It's on Trump's desk. It's all fine. People under 40 are going, hey, man, I can't own a house. I can't pay back my student loans. Why are my tax dollars funding you guys going and building Miami in Gaza? Who's that for? Who's that for? And why are people funding it? You know, if you work at a 7-Eleven for 12 hours a day on your feet, your tax dollars are going so that real estate developers can build luxury condos with like floating bathtubs in Gaza. There's no way anyone elected Trump for this. There's zero possibility that people elected Donald Trump so that their tax dollars could go to luxury real estate development in Gaza. And now if you criticize that, they'll take your visa if you're a foreign student. they'll just shut you down. So shut the up, get out of here. Everybody thinking that Jimmy Kimmel being removed and indefinitely suspended from ABC means that you are winning, you're a fool. Your tax dollars are going to build casinos in Gaza. You're not winning. This is not what winning looks like.
Charlie Kirk openly questioned the story Israel was trying to tell the world about October 7th.
How did these guys not know this was taking place?
So I've been to Israel many times. The whole country's a fortress. When I first heard this story, I still had the same gut instinct that I did initially. I find this very hard to believe. I've been to that Gaza border. You cannot go 10 feet without running into a 19-year-old with an AR-15 or an automatic machine gun that is an IDF soldier. Right? The whole country is surveilled. We don't talk about Israeli politics very often, and most Americans don't know this. The last 9 months, Israel is on the brink of civil war because Bibi Netanyahu is basically redefining the Israeli constitution. There were protests planned this week against Netanyahu, where they anticipated tens of thousands of people to take to the streets. That's all gone, Patrick. Was there a stand-down order? Whew. Was there a stand-down order? 6 hours? I don't believe it. Israel's the size of New Jersey. Did somebody in the government say stand down? That is a legitimate, non-conspiracy question. And let me tell you, my pattern recognition over the last 5 years has become pretty sharp. COVID, Maui fires, Epstein. When I see a story and it doesn't click, our guts are usually right.
Charlie Kirk
Watch this fearless journalist stand up to Zionist agitator.
How can somebody pledge allegiance to two countries?
If you accuse Ben Shapiro of having dual loyalty, they go, oh, that's an anti-Semitic trope. That means you hate the Jews. But then he'll sit there in his own words and say...
That's why the existence of the State of Israel is the single greatest guarantor of my loyalty to the United States, frankly. Because Israel is there as a backstop in case anything should go wrong.
So you're already saying you have loyalty to both of these countries. In fact, I'm not so sure about one of the loyalties, but I'm very sure about the other one.
Ani Benjamin Shapiro, Bnam Shel David V'Kela Shapiro. Israel, a land of heroes and dreamers who stand together.
We ask a Jew, do you believe America's your country or do you believe Israel's your country? The Israeli court said a person can only have one nationality. Is your nationality Jewish or is your nationality American? And if your nationality you say is Jewish, then what's your country? Zionism is intellectually absurd.
Obviously, that's absurd. I quote the New Testament, but I also refer to common sense when I say that no man can serve two masters. That's not possible. Because you can only really pledge your loyalty to one person or one country. That's just a fact. And there's also a sense, and this is relevant to me, and I know you're speaking about Israel.
Then Tucker comes out, says, you should have your citizenship yanked if you fight for a foreign army.
I think anybody, by the way, who serves in a foreign military should lose his citizenship immediately. There are a lot of Americans who've served in the IDF. They should lose their citizenship.
Hundreds and hundreds, thousands of American Jewish youth go to Israel and fight for their army.
Let's stop. Thousands. Y'all didn't know that? I keep telling you. Thousands of Jewish youth from America go to Israel and fight for their army. So when you're talking about the genocide being handed out in Palestine, it be people from America doing that. He just got to telling you thousands of them go. Let's rewind.
The IDF, they should lose their citizenship.
Hundreds and hundreds, thousands of American Jewish youth go to Israel and fight for their army instead of our own.
You can't fight for another country and remain an American, period. Obviously. I mean, it's like not even, it's so funny how all of us have been cowed into being like, oh, that's hate speech. No, it's not.
So that's a direct blow to not just the Israel lobby, but like the whole concept of Jewish communal life as it's understood by its leadership.
How can somebody pledge allegiance to two
countries? Our country has forgotten. It's only because they bought our congressmen and politicians. They bought them. And then they blackmailed the other ones who they couldn't buy. You don't need to blackmail the ones you bought already. Like this is craziness. I love showing y'all these clips because I know cats don't be watching this. So I'm like, let me just show y'all some of the stuff I be seeing.
Ted Cruz uses the Bible to justify aid to Israel, doesn't even know the verse.
I was taught from the Bible
Those who bless Israel will be blessed.
Where is that?
I can find it to you. I don't have the scripture off the tip of my. You pull out the phone and use the.
It's in Genesis, but so you're quoting a Bible phrase. You don't have context for it, and you don't know where in the Bible.
It's not in Genesis. See, the line that they're misnomering, Genesis 12:3, does not say that. I went over that earlier. So it don't even say Israel ain't even alive yet. This is God talking to Abram before he even got his hand. Abram wasn't even going hand. It wasn't even Abraham. It was Abram. Now, why my phone just start? See, when my phone just start, I didn't touch it, but why is it doing this? See, it's taking my words and reporting them to Gemini or whatever. You know, watch how Ted Cruz, who be getting millions to support Israel. This is why our government, this is why our country full of potholes and problems. Because all of our politicians are in on this governmental scam.
It is, but that's like your theology? I'm confused. What does that even mean?
I think Ted Cruz used Genesis 12:3. I think a lot of people see that as off-putting.
Are you Catholic?
Converting to Catholic from Judaism.
This is my next. Oh, from Judaism?
Yes.
Oh, wow. So you're you're ethnically Jewish.
Ethnically Jewish, yes.
And you have concerns about AIPAC.
Yes, I do.
I'm told that by some people that if I criticize AIPAC, I'm anti-Semitic.
I think it's ridiculous. Yeah. I feel like it's great to have a concern for your country.
Do you think that that AIPAC represents a kind of cutting in line of prioritization away from the American people?
Yes.
Would you guys say that's a fair summary?
100%.
Meaning that, like, okay, we vote, we're citizens, but a separate group gets higher priority because of whatever reasons. You look like you want to chime in.
That the entirety of the idea of a PAC is to represent a group, but the fact that we're allowing a group that doesn't even represent American interests to influence the people who are supposed to be representing us, I have a huge problem with.
Ted Cruz.
I do not know about, did y'all not know this? How many people didn't know this? It's cool not to know this. I just learned this very recently. Like, so don't be feeling like, oh, you gotta act like you knew. Or how many of y'all knew that over 365 of our congressmen and representatives take money, millions, from a foreign nation to represent their interests in the American government? You knew. So why you ain't tripping? If you knew, then you know why your kids ain't getting represented.
That Israel had something to do with Charlie Kirk's horrific murder. This is insane. It is false. It is outrageous.
Why do you think Netanyahu felt the need to go on national television and expressly deny that Israel assassinated Kirk? I mean, who does that?
Israel is behind the Charlie Kirk murder, and I don't believe it for 1 second. But I want you to make a statement. It's so absurd.
That's insane. That's insane. I think it's so absurd, so stupid, and so ridiculous. You can't believe that people are saying that.
Can you remember any time in the history of a political assassination that the leader of a foreign government has come out to deny that they were behind it? I mean,
I've never seen anything like that.
All what we can not to hurt the citizens. For example, these days, actually today,
you kill more than 70,000 civilians.
No.
There are more than shoot. Not the children, not the women.
We do specific war will end when the organization will release all our hostages and will give up his weapon because we can't stop the war as long as we have the hostages.
This kind of propaganda have too many. No one believe it.
All what we can not to hurt.
Oh Oh my God, he killed him. He couldn't even, he just like, this is the type of propaganda have too many. No one believe it.
She was known as Palestine. She forevermore will be known as Palestine.
I don't want to hear that.
They no longer support Israel. And everybody under 30 is against Israel. Charlie was 31. And so as a friend, he's saying to them, the same way I, as a friend, am saying, I am telling you, you've lost Dems, independents, and you're starting to lose Republicans.
I was shocked and sickened by the reaction of the ghoulish and really repulsive reaction of the Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, to Charlie's death. Basically made it all about him and all about his country. Immediately trying to take the energy, the sadness, the grief that people felt over Charlie's murder and redirect it towards support for whatever project he's involved in. I don't think I've ever seen anything lower than his attempt to hijack Charlie's memory and use it for his own political ends, particularly because what he said was completely untrue. Charlie did not like Bibi Netanyahu, and he said that to me many times, and he said it to people around him many times. He felt that Bibi Netanyahu was a very destructive force. He was appalled by what was happening in Gaza. He was, above all, resentful that he believed Netanyahu was using the United States to prosecute his wars for the benefit of his country, and that it was shameful and embarrassing and bad for the United States, and he resented it.
I'm also inclined to believe Candace Owens, to be honest with you.
Bill Ackman was very upset, and threats were made. A couple of weeks ago, before Charlie lost his life, Charlie was in the Hamptons.
Tumultuous, stormy meeting held in the Hamptons during the first week of August, convened by the billionaire ultra-Zionist financier Bill Ackman, who was close to Netanyahu and his kind of network in the United States. Charlie Kirk was summoned, and Charlie Kirk was, according to one source, hammered by Ackman and others for allowing Israel critics, very prominent conservative voices like Megyn Kelly, Tucker Carlson, or the anti-Zionist Jewish comedian Dave Smith, to appear at his events.
It was at this time that Bibi Netanyahu was called and Charlie was invited to Israel. This was an under duress situation, I would say, because I've been in these situations before. When I started asking very sensible questions about Israel, as someone who had dedicated her political life to supporting Israel, many times alongside Charlie Kirk, I was met with the very same pressure. And just like Charlie was being invited to Israel, I was invited somewhere else. And when this arrived to me, it felt like a threat. Not like, hey, come here and we can educate you because you're my friend. More like, this is your last chance.
Okay, so just keep in mind that literally, just one day after that meeting, Kirk made his comments about the pressure he's facing and the criticism he's getting on Megyn Kelly's show.
Honestly, the way you are treating me is so repulsive. I have text messages, Megyn, calling me an anti-Semite. My moral character is now being put into question, Megyn.
So the timeline makes sense. Everything adds up here. And I'm also inclined to believe Candace Owens, to be honest with you, because I have personally seen the wrath of pro-Israel figures in this country threaten you. And if they see that they can't really do much about your employment, they'll go after your family members. They'll try to ruin your life. That's currently happening to my husband right now, who's not a political figure at all, has never even uttered a word about Israel or what's happening with the genocide in Gaza. But since these people can't touch me, they're going after my husband and attempting to get him fired from a job that he loves. That's who these people are. They're despicable, despicable. I'm also inclined to believe
The American Jewish Committee called in a statement Charlie Kirk an anti-Semite and, quote, dangerous. Charlie Kirk, an anti-Semite. He was very stung by that. And those of us who've been called names for a long time are a little bit harder to offend. Charlie was deeply offended by that and expressed some of those feelings on Megyn Kelly's show and in other places.
Honestly, the way you are treating me is so repulsive. I have text messages, Megyn, calling me an anti-Semite. My moral character is now being put into question, Megyn. There's another article out in the Times of Israel today. I could read it on air. I was just reading before I got on. Charlie, what are you doing? Why are you? What am I doing? I'm sorry. Let's just take a step back here. I'm an American citizen.
The reason I'm telling this story is because he called me and then came to see me at my house about this topic. I hated seeing how much he was suffering, the hassle he was getting.
My moral character is now being put into question, Megyn. I have text messages, Megyn, calling me an anti-Semite. No, you're not allowed to.
Oh,
all the enemies that I'm told
No, you're not allowed to.
That's proof right there.
Charlie Kirk was starting to talk about the level of pressure he felt with regard to Israel, and that he felt more free to criticize his own government than to criticize this foreign government.
I have less ability sometimes online to criticize the Israeli government without backlash than actual Israelis do. And that's really, really weird.
An easy way to know if you are controlled. Is there somebody or something that you're not allowed to criticize? That's right. Simple as that. If you lived in Nazi Germany, you couldn't criticize the Nazi Party. If you lived in the Soviet Union, you couldn't criticize the Communist Party of Russia. If you live in China right now, you can't criticize the Chinese Communist Party. If you live in North Korea, you can't criticize Kim Jong-un. If you live in Cuba, you can't criticize the Cuban Communist Party. If you live in America, who can't you criticize? Who can't you criticize in America?
The Jewish lobby?
Yes.
On both sides. Right.
That's right. That tells you who controls the country. You're not, the fact that we're having this discussion and we're on the edge, all right? Everybody knows here, this is the edge.
Oh, yeah.
Why are we on the edge? Because we're touching the third rail. We're breaking the taboo. You're not allowed to discuss the power of the Israeli lobby in America.
Dave Smith is allowed to criticize Israel. You had both sides. The Israeli side was overrepresented.
No, you're not allowed to. You're not allowed to, though. No, you're not allowed to.
That's proof right there. They control America.
Oh, all the enemies that I'm told I have are actually Israel's enemies. Boy, that's interesting. And it's like every time we turn our head, there's our politicians back in Israel. And then they come back.
Now, I don't even care at this current time about these people's views aside from their view on Israel. I don't even care. We could go back to dealing with the black and white American beef that y'all want to keep going on. I'm with that. Cool. I'm happy to see these men saying what they're saying. Because once you realize you being propagandized or whatever the word is, right? And fed all type of bullshit in order for you to be more racist so that your country could be in worse condition so that it's more easily exploitable. Why you think half the world is under what it's under right now? So, like I said, I'm not tripping if this same dude right here wants some beef with me because I'm black, that ain't even what I'm tripping off right now. I'm happy that he just is knowing that he's being had. Because once he realizes he's being had, it's going to all unravel. And then you're going to realize that a lot of the negative propaganda that he's even being fed is for a reason, for another country's interest.
Here, and then they got another check from AIPAC, and then you log online and it's 10,000s of these accounts spamming about how great Israel is. You're just like, good Lord, I'm an American. Why do I keep hearing about this stuff? Younger conservatives are done with Israel. They're done. Oh.
Breaking news. United Nations investigation team says Israel has committed genocide against Palestinians in the Gaza Strip.
Breaking news to bring you now. A report by the United Nations has concluded that Israel is committing genocide.
We begin with developing news tonight. A United Nations commissioned inquiry says Israel has committed genocide in Gaza.
So we all know what they were committing in Gaza, genocide. But why are they reporting on September 16th that the United Nations said it? Because some white people said it. For real. It ain't. Why did they report on what South Africa said? You know all the black nations will tell you this. They're not going to tell you what they think. This is incredible.
The United Nations Commission of Inquiry has released a landmark report on Israel's actions in Gaza, holding it responsible for carrying out genocide against Palestinians.
A very dramatic announcement saying Israel's committing genocide in Gaza.
After Charlie Kirk was killed, Netanyahu wouldn't stop posting about him.
Can you remember any time in the history of a political assassination that the leader of a foreign government has come out to deny that they were behind it? I mean,
I've never seen anything like that.
That somehow Israel is behind the charge.
Miriam Adelson was the biggest donor to your House reelection race last year. Can you clarify that? Will you be taking money from her or any organization that she supports? Will you be taking money from AIPAC?
To answer your last question, no, I will not be accepting money from AIPAC in this race.
Can I ask you to build on that, what your current stance is on Israel's assault on Gaza and what you believe should be done if, for example, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu were to come here to the United States? Would you, as a senator, support his arrest? What do you think is the correct path forward there?
Well, there's a theologian who said, I screamed at God for the starving children until I realized the starving children was God screaming at me. And God is screaming at all of us in Gaza as we speak. So to answer your question, as a U.S. Senator, I will use the financial and diplomatic leverage in this country to stop the atrocities and the suffering in Gaza.
Would you
and it's
meet
not
with,
just for the
would you
people
meet
of Gaza,
with Netanyahu?
but it is also for the people of...
So specifically, though, would you meet with...
We gotta watch out because politicians always lie. So maybe they realizing this is the newest way to get elected, right? Because all that other stuff about to stop. But if he's sincere in his words, I don't know why it would take him to be sincere in his words. I have no reason to. And I don't even like that look he's giving right now. Like, that don't look like the truthfulest look in the world. Right? And so, I mean, you always got to look at how people look. There's a such thing called body language. But I would have to vote for him because he's better than the one who's saying the other thing. I'm glad he's legit. Thank you for saying so.
And the Emmy goes to Hannah Unbinder Hatch.
I ain't tripping off that.
I gotta be careful the way I say this. They're gonna try to ethnically cleanse Gaza. Yep. I mean, I don't use that term lightly, okay?
Before Charlie Kirk was killed, he said Charlie Kirk fears that Israel will kill him if he continues ahead, providing space for Israel critics.
Charlie kind of starting to question the amount of influence that Israel has in U.S., not only domestic politics, but foreign politics as well.
I just don't think we should go to war with Iran. Is a nuclear weapon Iran a threat to America? Probably. Could be. It's a threat to Israel, but is it a threat to America? I mean, India has nuclear weapons. Pakistan has nuclear weapons.
But he's one of the only people to go to the Oval Office and say, sir, I told you.
Right there. So, again, you're going to be like, but Charlie Kirk said these bad things about black people. That's not what I'm discussing right now. I'm discussing these people's issue with Israel. This is all brand new. It happened in your lifetime. You need to be paying attention to this. Because if this go the way it should, the marriage between America and Israel is about to be weakened. If the new young white politicians who was like, what AIPAC gonna do? They like, nah, what are they gonna do? They scam was getting money from America in the form of military aid, not getting it audited, taking some of that money and giving it right back to the politicians. A small percentage. If you getting $3 billion, you could take, don't even say $1 billion. You could take 100 million, take 200 million and buy all of the American politicians. Why would our government allow this? Why would we allow lobbying from foreign interests? Even if they do allow it from other foreign interests, they have to register. as a foreign interest. These dudes just walk
Let me
around
explain.
America buying politicians.
Let me explain something about what is called the Jewish lobby in this country. Their belief is that being for Israel first, that does not mean you're putting America second. An American president, however, has to approach it in a different way, in my opinion. He's got always to think first of what is best for America. An American president must make a decision that does not, in effect, give the Israelis a blank check. And one example of that is a decision that I made. I decided early on in our administration that we were going to seek good relations with Egypt and others of Israel's neighbors. Many of my Israeli friends didn't like that because they wanted a special relationship with Israel and Israel only. Let me explain.
In my heart, there is great pain now.
What are you doing about the start?
The
fact
is,
It is time for us to.
Bishop Hero was, damn it, we can't fire Joe Rogan. So now people are starting to ask and ask and ask. And so what I'm telling you now about this seminal moment is we've crossed the Rubicon. You can ask any goddamn thing you like.
Right.
Okay. And if they try to fire you for it, they're the bad guys, not you.
And
okay?
asking the question doesn't mean that you already think that it's a conspiracy. You're just trying to prove that it's a conspiracy.
Damn it, we can't.
The rest of the world doesn't sit there and say, oh, we have to accept it. Maybe the American people will.
This dude is raw. What's his name? Y'all tell me his name. So, Richard Wolff. Let's see. Got 2 F's. Oh, he be cooking. Oh, I didn't even know. I gotta subscribe to him. We about to just get some game from this dude real quick.
You must now be extremely careful about your financial situation. On our agenda now, stagflation. So let me start by making clear what that word means. The first letters of it, stag, refer to the word stagnant. A stagnant pool doesn't move, doesn't change. A stagnant economy is another one that not moving, not changing. It's when jobs are not available, when people are starting to get laid off, when production is being cut back. That's where we are right now in the United States, and virtually everyone thinks it's going to get worse before it gets better. We are heading into a period of a stagnant economy. But at the same time, we have inflation, rising prices. Sometimes our economy gives us a choice. We have stagnation, that's bad, but at least the prices aren't going up. Or we have inflation, that's bad, but at least jobs are available. But sometimes, when the capitalist economy we live in is particularly poorly led by business and by government, well then, we get the two bad things at the same time, stagnation and inflation, and we call that, by clamping the two words together, stagflation. And that's what we're heading into in the autumn of 2025 and the winter of 2026. And I want to talk to you about why that is and what that means and how to understand it so you're not overwhelmed by it, or at least less so because you understand. Where does the stagnation part come from? Well, the answer lies partly in the nature of capitalism as a system and partly in particular things going on now. So I'll start with the general real quickly. Capitalism is a system for 300 years now, starting in England, spreading to Europe, and then global, which has had an economic downturn on average every 4 to 7 years. The system is monumentally unstable. If you lived with a roommate as unstable as capitalism, you would have moved out long ago. Every 4 to 7 years, on average, millions of people are suddenly thrown out of their jobs. Businesses close down or cut back. Governments don't have taxes because of that, so they cut back on public programs. It's awful. Now, the last few we've had are on schedule. We had one in the spring of 2020, and we called that the dot-com crisis. And we had another one in 2008, and we called that the subprime mortgage crisis. And then we had another one in 2020, and we called it the COVID crisis. Yep, coming roughly every 4 to 7 years, that's an average, and hurting us badly, hurting some of us catastrophically. And we're heading for another one now. And you know how I know it? You know how all the financial press is talking about it? The Wall Street Journal, The Economist, the Financial Times? Because the last one happened in 2020, and we're now 5 years and a half beyond it. We're due 4 to 7 year average. May not come this month, may not even come next month. It's coming. And recent statistics, as I'll tell you in a moment, suggest it's coming fast. Unemployment right now is 4.3%. Since we have 160 million people in the labor force in this country, 4.3% of them are unemployed. That's 7 million people looking for work, unable to find it. We know from the Federal Reserve that about 25 to 30% of our tools, equipment, machines, factory floor, store floor, it's all empty, not being used. So we have 7 million people who want a job. We have all the tools, equipment, and raw materials for them to work with and on. And we sure need the output to deal with the poverty that haunts us. But we have a capitalism can't put these things together. That's the deep reason why we face stagflation now. It's built in to the capitalist economy. But then there are particular reasons why it's happening now. Those have a lot to do with the policies of the Trump administration. The number one of those is the tariff. The whole world is more unified economically than it's ever been. That is, a larger proportion of the goods and service each of you consumes come from somewhere else in the world. Or if they're made in the United States, they use parts that come from other parts of the world. And the same is true everywhere else in the world. So imposing a tax on the goods and services that come into the United States is the United States government interfering in global markets. Used to be in America that the government was told, don't do that. Used to be the Republicans were the ones who said it most often. The government shouldn't interfere in the wonders of the market. Well, Mr. Trump doesn't seem to agree, and the rest of the Republicans have fallen over like dominoes to agree with Mr. Trump. He's interfering left and right, putting tariffs all over the place. And what does it mean? It means that companies abroad don't know what their market in America is, because whatever they ship here, French wine, Japanese electronics, coffee from Brazil, whatever it might be, the price to an American has to include the new tariffs, that's a tax on imports, that Mr. Trump not only imposes, but often a week later takes back, and often a week later cuts in half, and often a week later doubles. No one can plan. And so companies around the world are changing where they sell their goods. They're not going to do business in the United States. They're going to find more reliable, more stable customers everywhere else. And because the United States is not the dominant economy in the world it once was, not by a long shot, they know there are huge economies around the world that they can focus on instead. And the number one beneficiary, China. So we are having less business, and companies are not coming to the United States because they know that with the higher prices we all have to pay as the tariffs move into the cost of what we buy every day, because the market is unstable here, they're not moving here. Mr. Trump may tell you they've promised to do that, but I'm here to tell you, promise is one thing, action is another. And then if you add that remarkable choice of the ICE people to invade and arrest all the South Koreans in that battery plant in Georgia, you know the message you sent to South Korea, one of the richest economies in the world, don't come to the United States. They tell you, please come, we'll help you. And when you set up a business, the ICE army will come and arrest 400 people, send them back out of the country, cripple that investment. No, no, no. The investments aren't coming, and that's why the job situation is getting worse and worse, and has been now for many months. Stagnation. Now, what about inflation? We've had it bad, up to 8 or 9%. Now it's only 3%. We congratulate ourselves as a nation. We brought it down to 3%. But 3% is still very bad because it's coming on top of those much higher prices that never went down again. So it's 3% on top of an already high price. The majority of Americans go into the supermarket or the department store and their hearts sink. They get unhappy and depressed because they're watching a display of all the things they can't afford anymore. Bloomberg did a remarkable statistical study that was released on the 16th of September. It showed that half of all consumers' spending in this country is done by the richest 10% of the people. The other 90% of the people do the other half of the spending. In other words, half of the business in this country has the employer looking at the 10% richest people because those are buying half of what he has to sell. Of course he cares more about the rich. Of course their stores are more elegant. Of course their service is much better. We, the rest of us, the 90%, the vast majority, can't afford as the prices go up. Only the richest 10% can. And that's how this economy is working. No wonder the people at the top, the 10%, keep telling each other, the economy is great, the stock market is booming. It is for them. But for the other 90%, make no mistake, if you don't think the economy's in good shape, you're right. The people at the top are wrong. You're right because you're the majority. What you are feeling and seeing is what most people feel and see. And I'm here to tell you, as a professional economist, the condition of the bottom 90% of the American people is deteriorating, and it is deteriorating consistently and quickly. It's not an economy that works for everybody, not even close. And now the final important point for you to understand. Who is responsible for the stagnation? Who is responsible for the inflation? And therefore, who's responsible for the stagflation we are now entering into? Well, it's the same group. It's called the employer class of this capitalism. It's the employers who decide whether or not to create jobs. They want us to love them when they do. Okay, but then let's be clear. If you want the credit when you create jobs, you get the blame when you don't. And you're not doing it now. You haven't been for months. So the blame has to go to the people who decide whether or not to hire more or less or make no change at all. Just like it's the employer who decides abroad or here, move a factory from there to here, from here to there. That's employers who decide all of that. So the question of jobs, and therefore the question of stagnation, is a question that is decided by the employer class. And according to the United States Census, employers are 3% of our people. The other 97% are not employers. And that matters because it's the employers who make the decisions. Move the factory, don't move the factory. Hire more workers, don't hire more workers. Let me turn then to inflation. Who determines the price of a box of cereal or a rubber tire or a software program? Is it the employees of the companies that make these things? No, it's the employers. Those 3% again, they set the prices. We pay them, but we don't decide them. The employer decides them, and the employer picks the price that's the most profitable to them. If fewer of us can buy it, they won't care if the few that can still afford it can pay higher prices. So they raise the price when it's profitable. Notice, the employer class, a tiny minority of our society, determines whether we have stagnation, determines the prices we confront, and actually gets us at both ends. The employer decides whether I have a job and what income I get from it, and the employers decide what I have to pay when I spend the money I earn on the goods I need to live. They get us coming and they get us going. Capitalism, the name, tells it all. It's a system run by and for the capitalists. And that's just another word for the employer. So if you're not an employer, you're not in the club that runs the show. Is it possible by some mixture of good luck that this all works out for Mr. Trump? The answer is yes, that could happen. It's not a zero probability. It could. But if you want me to tell you what I think is going to happen, I think it's going to be a disaster. And therefore, I would say to every working man or woman, any person, you must now be extremely careful about your financial situation. Don't make major expenditures if you don't have to. Hold on. Find ways of accommodating, economizing, because there are risks now of a recession, which, by the way, most of Wall Street expects later this year or early next year. There are serious risks of an inflation. There are serious probabilities of a combination of both of those things, which we call stagflation. And all of those are terrible news for the working class. I'll add one more. Having told the working class for the last 70 years that there is this thing called the American dream, and that if they work hard and study hard, they will have an entitled chance to get it, a nice home, a car, a vacation, a dog, a station wagon, all the rest of it. You're not providing that now to millions of people. And if we have an economic crisis, and remember the last two were immense, the 2008 and 9 crisis was very, very bad. And the 2020 so-called pandemic crisis also. If we have another one on those scales, on top of the receding American dream, you are putting your working class under extraordinary stress, and it would be naive not to expect extraordinary political, ideological outgrowths from that situation.
Damn. That was hella good.
Welcome.
He always be breaking it down. I'm gonna get up out of here. It's been about 2-3 hours. I'm just watching late night vids that I could be watching on my phone. Peace to y'all. One thing, we can't be scared to inform ourselves about the politics, the things that run our life. Like, you ain't had to be no expert at nothing to learn about it. Right?